is National Women's Month, and all month long, we've shared our Empowering Women series, where we brought you one of the 5 amazing women from my upcoming documentary film, More Than Our Skin. Our last episode features Patricia Rossy, Vice President of VITFriends. Patricia shares part of her journey and how she uses her voice and beauty to bring attention to this widely misunderstood disease. That's coming up next on the PowerPLAY Show.
From the studios at Hull Bay Productions, this is Season 3 of the PowerPLAY Show. Now, here's Tonya McGrath.
Welcome to the PowerPLAY Show. I'm Tonya McGrath, and this month I've been celebrating 5 women in power who are near and dear to my heart. As I've been sharing over the past year, I'm working on my second film project, More Than Our Skin, a documentary focusing on the lives of 5 women living with the autoimmune disease, vitiligo. My last guest in my Empowering Women series, and I always say save the best for last, is Patricia Rossy, Vice President of VITFriends. VITFriends is a patient advocacy group that encourages, educates, and empowers members of the vitiligo community to know all there is to know about their disease, to advocate for themselves, to be comfortable in their own skin, and to live their best life now. Patricia uses her powerful voice and stunning beauty to bring attention to vitiligo through workshops, speaking engagements, and yes, her modeling and also her art. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. But Patricia, welcome to the PowerPLAY Show.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
I am so great to been able to do this series with all of you, and I'm very excited to talk about you as well. But one of the things I just have to say about your set right now, because when I think of you, Patricia, I think of the word vibrant. So when you came on to do this, I was like, yes, it's a vibrant, it's beautiful, just like you are.
Thank you.
All right, let's jump into this now. I want you to give our audience a little bit more about yourself, where you grew up, your family, just a little bit more about who Patricia is.
Well, I was born in Harlem, but I've been living in the Bronx the majority of my life. I am married to a wonderful man named Richard, and we've been married for 25 years last November. We've known each other for 28 years. I also have 3 sons, Reginald, Michael, and Richard. And I have 8 grandchildren and 1 great-granddaughter. So I kind of have a lot going on.
You do have
yeah, that's really it. That's a little bit about me, besides that I have vitiligo. But I'm loving my life right now.
And how old were you, or how many years ago were you actually diagnosed with vitiligo?
Okay, I said I was going to get these numbers right. So I was diagnosed in 1997, exactly 3 months after I got married to Mr. Rossy. So I was 39 years old when I was diagnosed.
Wow. So it's fair to say that, and you talked a little bit about this in our interview, that for better or for worse, in sickness and health, really that was tested right away in your marriage. Right away.
And the test came, but it wasn't known yet of the vitiligo. I had an allergic reaction to a kitten that we had, and I was sick for 3 weeks, and it started January 8th, and we got married November 16th. December 8th. So it was in the same year, and I was like, wow, there's no joke for better or worse in sickness and health, because I was sick. I could not do anything for myself. So I thank God for a man who takes his vows seriously. So
yes. And talk about when you first noticed the first spot on you and what that relationship was in terms of, because we know you got sick right away. How much longer did it take for you to notice that first spot?
I'm going to say it was like maybe February in that year, but it wasn't the spot, it was the itching. Mm-hmm. I itched, or should I say, I scratched my elbow, and I believe it was my right elbow first, to the point where my mother, God rest her soul, kept saying, if you keep scratching your elbow, you will scratch your skin off. And I was like, but it itches, Ma. I really can't help it. And then it stopped itching, and there was a white spot. So that was kind of weird. No blood from the scratching, because I was seriously trying to reach the bone. That's how itchy it was. And the white spot was there. And I was like, oh, I guess I should go to the doctor. And I went to my internal medicine doctor, and he gave me some cortisone, for the itch. But that was not a good idea, but he didn't know. And then finally I went to a dermatologist, and I sat for, I'm going to say like 25 minutes to wait for not even a 5-minute diagnosis of it's vitiligo. And I was like, okay, so what next? So, there's no cure. And I paid my $25 and I left. And I wasn't upset because I didn't know what vitiligo was. So I think the spot and the location left me with some sort of calmness about it. But then I looked it up, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, because your transformation, your depigmentation, if you will, is quite dramatic. And I'm going to show some before and after pictures now, but I want you to go back to that first encounter with the dermatologist, because as you mentioned, you had that first one, but you really were trying to get some information about this, and you kind of struggled with that. There was a time where you were getting frustrated because you just weren't getting the answers that you were looking for.
And because I read up on it, I kind of knew what to expect. So that first doctor, as ignorant as she appeared to be, she was also rude because she gave me no information. I kind of got my information on the internet. But then as I started to progress in the depigmentation, I wanted to, get rid of all of it. And so I went seeking for a professional dermatologist with the knowledge of vitiligo. That was somewhat comical because I had gone through the trauma of the stares and the glares. So now I'm seeking this professional to help me totally depigment. And female again, sorry ladies, but she was frightening and comical at the same time, because she was like, wow. And my husband and I, we tried not to laugh at her because it was so unprofessional.
Yeah.
And she goes, can I get my colleague? And so when she left the room, I said to Richard, well, I guess I'll just, have to wait till I depigment on my own. And, she came back with another female doctor, and they were like, oh my goodness, we've never seen, so much, and we don't know what to do. And so I knew then that whatever my journey was going to be, I would have to go it alone, because doctors were, they had no clue. So.
And you have spoken publicly, I believe, at a meeting about the need for doctors to do better in treating vitiligo patients. What are they not getting, and what do they need to do better? I mean, at the very least, compassion and information, right?
Definitely. I was at a dermatology conference in Florida. I can't really remember the year, but they wanted patients to speak. And somehow I had no words, but I did a skit. I wore a cheetah mask and I said, "Do you see me? Do you really see me?" Because what happens is you go to the doctor, and whether it's vitiligo, alopecia, arthritis, whatever, doctors don't really see the patient. They see what you came for. So if you have a hangnail, they're only looking at the hangnail. They really can't tell you if it's on your left hand or your right hand. And so I got tired of hearing the stories of everything else except for what you came for. And I think doctors need to speak to you as a human, because, okay, they're there to treat whatever ails you, but they need to have bedside manner. There should be some care for that individual. Each patient is separate from the other, right, but they treat us as the disease and they don't see the person. And there's no information, like vitiligo is going to change you, or this type of vitiligo that you have, you will stay like this for the rest of your life. There was none of that. And I just felt that I had to speak to that in that particular, forum, because the doctors were there. They were all there, and afterwards they were like, wow, that was really deep, because we need to know that, Right. But as far as I know, there's bedside manner is part of their education, and they need to address that more seriously. I think even for people who have skin conditions or diseases or burns, because you already feel bad.
Right.
So.
Right. And I think it was really powerful that you took it upon yourself to go research this information. But as we know, the internet can be very confusing and misleading. So it almost kind of feels like, that could even be more dangerous to someone, particularly when they're hearing the words "no cure," loss of pigmentation, not sure how it happens, those types of things. People can get, I know when I had to have a biopsy a couple of weeks ago, and I went online looking at stuff, and Greg was like, you got to stop doing that. It's too much. It
can make whatever's happening worse, because it's like you get to a fork in the road and you don't know whether what they're saying is true on the left or true on the right. So I think research to know what something is, so that you can be a little more educated. So when you do go to the doctor, well, I read, so now they know you have some sense. That's the only good thing about research, because they can even. I think we were in DC, and a lady was explaining to someone what vitiligo was, but she was wrong. She was telling her that vitiligo is a cousin to albinoism, which is another skin disease, but you're born with albinoism. You're not born with vitiligo. And she was like, well, it's a cousin. And I'm like, nope. Then I went and I found a doctor, and I was like, look, you need to speak to him, because what she's saying is totally misleading. I said, and I don't want, because I was ready to. And I was like, okay, let's go to the source. So again, this is what happens, because people write those things on the internet.
Yeah.
And now your child has vitiligo, she's gonna turn into an albino because
Right.
the lady on the lawn said it was a cousin.
Mm.
So,
You know, throughout this journey, and I can only imagine that those first several years were kind of ups and downs for you, but your husband, the incredible Richard Rossy, was there the entire way. What did that support mean for you, and how did that help you in your journey?
it's funny. That's a good question. And you know, when you're struggling, you know that your family's there for you. On days when you feel bad, you know, oh babe, you look good, you know, don't worry. Sometimes you don't really want to accept that because you expect them to love you no matter what. And he had already proven that in the first, 3 months of marriage. So between him and my mom, you know, they were like, you look good. They would fight for me in a minute, you know. But the best was, you know, when we would be out, people would be like giving you that, oh, look. And my husband would be like, take a picture. It lasts longer. You know, like he had the humor that I needed for those who would give those ugly stares. So those things, they help you when you're walking alone. You just remember the good stuff. I always say, the alabaster box, you can open the box and take out, you know, those comments or those thoughts that were given, you know, from a person. Like my friend said to me many years later, she goes, you know, I don't even remember what you looked like before because you're the same person. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So all those things that nourished you while you were going through, when you needed it, you can open the box and take out and, you know, take a mint, and it refreshed you. Yeah. And so all of that, my husband, my mother, those were the things that, you know, like, oh God, I got to go back to the mean streets. But, you know, I say, let me get one of these protein mints, and it helps. It really does when you have good people in your corner.
We're going to take a quick break, more with Patricia Rossy when we continue. But first, here is one of the trailers for the upcoming film documentary, More Than Our Skin, featuring Patricia, titled The Subway. You're listening to The PowerPLAY Show.
Always a hard part of my day because I knew that people would be staring at me on the subway, and that was the most difficult part of my day because I had to learn to deal with ignorance. The people with the sunglasses, you got sunglasses on. Why do you have to pull your sunglasses down to look at me when you can see through your sunglasses? The closer I got to the subway, the little more of the anxiety would start. You know, the palpitations in your heart. And then, you know, you take a deep breath and you relax because life goes on when you have vitiligo. And I was determined not to let vitiligo have me. That was a trial, but the trial still goes on because people still stare. But I know they're staring at me because, as my son says, I'm just beautiful. So they can't help themselves. Vitiligo 101, it didn't win over me. So I'm here, still standing, as they say. Still standing. So, yeah, the subway.
Now back to the PowerPLAY Show.
We're back with Patricia Rossy. Your trailer shows just how tough you have been, especially on the subway, but this was also a very hurtful time for you going back and forth. Talk about that and how did you really get to learn how to manage that?
Well, kind of like what I said before, but in mornings when you got up and you looked in the mirror, you saw what people were going to see that day. So I would talk to myself. I would have to give myself affirmations. I'd, open that box and take out one of those power mints and say, you can do it, and, it's only my skin, but it was more than my skin because my heart, my soul was being, darts, people staring at you, young kids pointing. And, my favorite, my favorite line was always, the sunglasses, you can see my eyes. These glasses are clear, but sunglasses, you can't see the person's eyes, but they still had to do like, oh my goodness, I can't believe, that kind of thing. And I carried cards with me that said, don't stare, it's rude. Gawking is impolite. I never had to give them out. It was kind of like I had to have something to touch to keep me focused on who I was, not who the ignorant person who was staring from the other side. I had a lot of great, encouraging people. My fear was work. And my boss said to me, whatever this is, you'll be fine with it. He said, because your personality will always outshine what the outside looks like. Mm-hmm. So those things kept me going. Going on vacation, I didn't care. I would clear a pool in a minute. Like, here comes this spotted lady and all the people are in the pool and they looking around and I'm like, babe, we got the pool to ourselves. And people would literally get out the pool. And I would be laughing. We'd be in the pool going back and forth, just laughing. So sometimes you use your negative to make it a positive. I'm
glad you had that within you to find some humor in that. I don't know how I would have reacted to that at all. Patricia, take us back to when you first met Valerie Molyneux, who is the president and founder of VITFriends, and how was this whole thing born? How did it all come to be?
I met Valerie on the internet. There was another support group online, and I would write stuff to people. They were having pity parties, and the person that I was, their pity party was my my energy. So I would write stuff like, oh, you could do it, blah, blah, blah. And Val was writing something, and I kept going backwards and forth. I was in the living room with my mom, but there was a tugging. And I kept saying, I can't stay out here. There's somebody I'm talking to. And Val asked, where do you live? And I was like, I live in the Bronx. So she mentioned a church that I was going to, Bethel Gospel Assembly. And her family was part of Bethel Gospel Assembly. And so that was 2005. And I said, I'm coming to Boston. And the next weekend, my husband and we drove to Boston. And I always tell Val, it's like a movie, you see people running in slow motion in the parking lot. And we were running towards each other. And that was 2005. And, we stayed in touch, we talked. And then we went to a conference in 2007. And Val was like, oh, we got to do this. We need a group. And We talked about it, and I believe 2009 was our first VITFriends group. And, we're there whenever, however, for each other. They do so much, VITFriends. I'm the chatter. I will chat you, but like write Insta, I don't do that. You need me to talk to somebody, give them my number. But other than that, I love it. I love the need. People have a need, and I love the need, because you have an opportunity to save people, from themselves. So
what gives you the greatest reward working with VITFriends and the people that you're able to help? What gives you the greatest reward?
To see the person, whoever it is at that moment, when you see them and they're down, and they're like just down, and the words that you speak to them, and it's like watching a plant come back to life. It's like you water them and then they just sprout out. Like nothing that they started with is ever there. And that gives me joy, because I know that people always say, everything happens for a reason. It's part of, God's plan. And I didn't know that. I didn't understand that till one Sunday morning they were singing Nothing But the Blood, and it washes you white as snow. And then I was like, I got it. It was like the light bulb moment came, and I realized that I have to help people, get that white as snow feeling, because it's a dark thing, when you lose your identity. But it's just the outer part of you. It's not your inner, your identity is who you are inside. Because you could talk to someone on the phone and they never see you.
Right.
But that's your identity. What you project with your voice, and you help people. So that's my greatest joy. Yeah. I love helping people, on the phone, in the street, at the pizza shop.
Yeah. And, and you told me when I came to New York to interview, you told me that you tried to answer every single phone call that comes in on the hotline. And that is very, very important to you, to be able to pick up that phone or return that phone call as soon as possible. Why is that so important to you?
You think of a hotline as it's an emergency. Most times those people that are on the other end of the phone, whether it's a parent or an individual person with vitiligo, they're contemplating doing something that they can't change. It could be their last day. Mm-hmm. And I never want to have someone's last day, on my hands because I didn't answer a phone call. And I've talked to people for hours on the phone. So, and, I always follow up with them, try to keep in touch with them. And some of them just, they just disappear. They no longer, answer. I try to make sure that they become friends on Facebook. So even if they don't talk to me again, I know that they're still, here. And I've talked to people as far away as Canada, and to one young lady who lived down the street. So far and in between, but I think, that's what God wanted me to do, but I had to be in their shoes in order to do that. So suicide hotline, that's what I call it. Because that's usually, that's usually the calls. So. Yeah.
We're going to take another quick break, more with Patricia when we continue. But first, the official film trailer to the upcoming film documentary, More Than Our Skin. You're listening to The PowerPLAY Show.
Did he have vitiligo, and is that why he lightened his skin?
The king of pop had vitiligo.
I'm a Black American. I'm proud to be a Black American.
And he allegedly bleached his skin.
I have a skin disorder. There is no such thing as skin bleaching.
Let's get to the fact versus the fiction here.
He has a serious skin condition, which I have witnessed.
When people make up stories that I don't want to be who I am, it hurts me.
My world ended that day.
Because what was your biggest fear?
I'm just too fabulous for that. All of this chocolate, milk chocolate, you're saying may go away?
That's all I did was watch TV, go to the refrigerator, watch TV, go to the refrigerator. That's it. That's all I did. I wasn't doing nothing. I was staying in the house.
You know, next to photos, it's like, and then be the spotted one. So it was hard, absolutely.
This was gonna be it, that there was not gonna be anything else out there to help me because I had already tried everything.
Why me? Especially in mornings when you had to do life again each day. I was like, why me?
Vitiligo is an autoimmune disease.
The immune system, which we know fights viruses, and vitiligo, it's the skin color cells.
Leading to white patches, often in exposed areas such as the face or hands. When patients come in, sometimes they just want to know what's going on.
Is this something that I can catch?
And once we know what causes vitiligo and what drives vitiligo, we can design treatments and be able to treat patients.
The creators of 100 Years, 100 Voices of Faith bring you more than our skin. The compelling stories of 5 women living with vitiligo. It's the story of more than the skin you see. It's the pain, depression, suicide thoughts that come knowing that with their pigmentation, a bit of humanity also faded away.
I was upset. They used to stare and look and point.
How is the disease affecting them?
I didn't want to be around people.
Not leaving their homes because it so deeply affects them.
The view of all the people and them.
There's no way you can hear those stories and not get personally involved.
Oh, were you burned in a fire? And I looked at him and I said, does this look like a burn?
And through their anger and pain, they're able to stand strong with the support of their communities to tell the world what they want you to know about what it means to live with vitiligo.
The journey will be hard.
They should not, make fun of people.
It's not just spots on your skin. This is affecting this.
We got to speak for those that don't want to speak, for the voiceless.
My biggest hope is that it encourage, lift up, pick up someone that's down in the dumps. Our aim is to continue on this upward motion, making it happen.
More than our skin.
Now, back to the PowerPLAY Show.
As we work on finishing this film project, I want you to reflect a bit without giving too much away. What has this whole experience been like for you making this film?
The best part of it is knowing that it will be worldwide and everybody will get to see how either ignorant they have been, and also that they will get knowledge on being able to help those that, like for me, on the subway, someone could tap someone like, yo, don't do that. Because knowledge is powerful. And, there's a lot of us who have vitiligo, but there's not a lot of us who have the power to inform. And so now you get to see 5 people giving you the information that you need so you could be a better person for the next generation of children with vitiligo, and even older people, because it's not a born disease. Mm-hmm. You could wake up tomorrow at 39 and your life is going to change. And this film will give people knowledge, on how to treat or how to be treated if it happens to them. And I think it's It's fabulous. I think it's fabulous. I'm excited to be a star.
Yeah. Well, listen,
as my mom had said.
That leads me to my next line of questions, because you are already a star. You are an incredible artist, and your husband had a book published with some of your art that we're going to take a look at now. How does art help you? Is it therapeutic for you? Why are you so in love with it? And you're just so incredibly talented.
Art is calming. It gives you our ability to create a life outside of yourself. You know, even if you're painting something that's someone else's, but if you feel it and you could put it down on paper, that, you know, that's what that first, you know, set of photos was for me. You know, I read a scripture and I was like, wow, I could do that. Or I thought something and I could put it on paper. It was, you know, I've always been creative from little. You know, one of my mom's friends said that I should have been an architect because I made a house out of construction paper. But then I realized I gotta go to school. Nah, I'm not interested. Everything I've done and everything that I still do is from passion, not from education. So I got 100 things going at one time. I'm sewing, I'm painting, I do jewelry. So I have to stay busy because it keeps my mind, you know, going. So.
You also use your stunning beauty to showcase the beauty of vitiligo. And you just recently did something. So talk about why that is so freeing for you to be able to, you know, because you've done a ton of fashion shows and photo shoots, and, you know, you've been asked to be part of commercials and campaigns and stuff. Why is that so liberating for you to be able to show your vitiligo in such a beautiful way?
I guess, like most of the vitiligo models that we've seen, it just shows that it's, you know, it's more than our skin. People can see us and realize that we're not, how can you, shackled by this disease. So, you know, some people are ashamed because they have the vitiligo, but I think people need to know that it's nothing to be ashamed of. If, you know, a person with cerebral palsy or someone with cancer or someone who's a short person, all these things, it doesn't stop you from, you know, pursuing your dreams. So, you know, I think if someone wants to photograph me because I have vitiligo, yeah, why not? You know, I'm not coming with a sad face. I'm happy, you know, so I enjoy it. So Saturday was a showcase for Sia, which is a young woman who has body image problems. But I wish I had her shape. I'm just saying. But, you know, the card you're dealt is what you have. Yeah. But it was nice to see myself hanging on the wall. You know, it was only 3 pictures hanging, but it was like, you know, as soon as I came in the room, I saw myself and I was like, and the best part was she had a picture of me when I was not a vitiligo. And so people were looking more at mine because I had an extra picture. Mm-hmm. Everybody had just their 3, but I had 4. So, you know, it brought attention. Plus there was a writing and it said that I had, you know, vitiligo, and, you know, I had it from the age of 39 and I'm only 40. But so
That's right. I can attest to that.
So it was, I don't know, it was great. I thought it was great, you know, and love fashion shows. I love walking the runway my way. So I enjoy it. That's all of that is a form of art, you know, and art is supposed to be admired. So I get people to look at me with vitiligo and, oh, your skin is so, and I'm like, girl, if you only knew, I was chocolate, but I have vitiligo. So there's always, I was able to give out some of our cards on Saturday. So yeah.
Another opportunity to teach.
Exactly.
I'm asking each of the 5 women this question. Once this film is completed, and you talked a little bit about it before, but once it's completed, what are you hoping audiences walk away feeling and knowing about your story and what it means to live with vitiligo?
Enlightened, which is, it's kind of a pun because we all have been enlightened by vitiligo, but knowledge, they get knowledge, and now they're aware of their ignorance. So the knowledge, can erase ignorance from, the population of those who don't know how it is to suffer with something that you have no control over.
Patricia, thank you so much for being my guest here. Any last words to anyone, any person out there wondering where to go when looking for support with their vitiligo?
VITFriends.org. I'm telling you, you can get everything you need to know. You don't have to Google Mayo Clinic. Google VITFriends, VITFriends.org, and you will get everything you need. And don't forget, World Vitiligo Day is coming, June 24th to the 26th, and we are going to Minnesota. So go to VITFriends, check us out. Thank you, Tonya.
And if you want to learn more about the film project and these amazing 5 women featured in the documentary, the creative team behind the making of this film, or to leave a donation, you can visit morethanourskin.com. Patricia, thank you so much. This has been great.
Yes, please donate. We need your help. Donate. It's a good cause. You really, really should donate. It's not the big amounts, it's all of the amounts. So please donate. Thank you.
See, this is why she's my spokesperson, and I have to give her a film credit on the film. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You can watch past episodes of the PowerPLAY Show wherever you subscribe to podcasts, including iTunes, iHeartRadio, Pandora Podcasts, and now Amazon Music. You can also watch our shows on YouTube. Simply search the Hull Bay Productions Media channel and be sure to subscribe so you always know when we're live. And we air each Saturday at 5 p.m. on BroncoiRadio.com. So tune into a new episode of the PowerPLAY Show each Thursday wherever you subscribe to podcasts, or on our YouTube channel by searching the Hull Bay Productions Media channel, or on Saturdays at BroncoiRadio.com, or simply visit thepowerplayshow.com. Until next time, I'm your host, Tonya McGrath. Thank you for tuning in to our Empowering Women series.